Okay, so hi Mia. I guess I'll start off by telling you guys kind of like my ideas of the launch because I was in the Transform 20 test group, so I did that type of launch with that program and it went really well. Like I think we launched that in January, but we started our group, like our Snoop group in December or like September or October or November. I don't remember, but February when like after we did the group in January, February was like my biggest month because I had built up that list of people, and I didn't use a form or anything. I just really like posted on social media about it, but I feel like a form helps. I don't know about you guys, but like for me, nobody really fills my forms out, but I made one for MM100 anyways. So anyone that I'm talking to, I'm going to send them the form of like the test group application. So I have to go over it and then they're like in the test group. And it basically, I'm just going to like show you because I posted a different one in the Boss Babes Mastermind, but it just goes through like how excited they are, like how committed, what their goals are. And I just like really want to get to know them. So I posted one. Hold on, I'm going to mute some people real quick. I posted one a couple days ago, and I changed it today because I felt like I needed something more in it about their goals and like what they're trying to do, because then I want to be able to recommend the package they need to them. Does that make sense? So I just like added the questions, and if you guys don't have a form yet, you totally can copy this. Do they struggle with nutrition? All these things about them. Like I want to get to know them. And then I put, what is the coach's name that you're talking to? Because I'm going to have my coaches use this form too, so they don't have to go invent it. Just because I tell them like, yeah, you should make your own Google form, but then they just ask me a bunch of questions and I have like, just go Google it, but they won't. So they can just use this. And I have a small downline. So, and like a couple working coaches. So if they just fill this out or have their people fill it out and they put the coach's name, I can just like basically send it over to them so they can see, or I can give them the login so they can see or whatever. And then someone from the MM100 test group is it kind of like partnering with me in my challenge group. She got into it. So she put this on her form, and it says, do you have a friend or family member that you would love to rock this test group with? I offer referral discounts to folks who join with a buddy. So that's kind of something I guess you could throw in there just so like they can invite their friends and family. And if they even like have 3 or 4 people, they could sign up as a discount coach. So it's, something to think about, and you could just throw it in there. And then I also added this because I have people fill my forms out and they're just like, yes, like I know this costs, and then they're like, oh, I thought this was free. So I just put like, do you acknowledge that there are costs associated with reaching your goals, with coaching and the launch group, but would like a customized recommendation of what would be best for you to decide if this is the right fit for your needs. So you guys can word that different, but I just want them to be like, no, I'm not ready to invest, or yes, I'm ready. Like no bullshit. Do you want to pay the price or do you not? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you to do this with us? And then join our info group for more info. So they can join the Snoop group. You don't have to put that in there. I just threw it in at the end. So that's my form. And I have it in my bio on Instagram. I just feel like a lot of people don't go click it and like fill it out. So anyone you're talking to, like prospects for July, you could just send them your form. And I feel like that's a really good way. I had another a really good way to get your list built up. And then I posted this in the Boss Babes Mastermind group today, and it's a whole like document on all of the MM100 info. And like there's some stuff about like posts you can do and stuff at the bottom. So I shared that with my coaches too, because I feel like just having that layout works. But as of like our group and stuff, I think I was planning to do prep week that Monday before the 29th. But now people are saying that they're starting their groups August 5th. But then a lot of people are like, we're going back to school. Like we're just going to have busy weeks. So if anyone like wants to share like when you're starting your groups or prep week, if you had any ideas, that'd be awesome. Don't be afraid to talk. Like I just talked so much. You can talk.
Well, you already know I am not afraid to talk. So here I am. It's nice to see you. I love that form, especially if you are growing your Instagram, like your Instagram stories, your following, and you're starting to get people who like don't know you other than on Instagram, because I've noticed I get a lot of like interest messages, but like having, or like, I just want to know what you're doing, or like, I need to know more. So having a form like that to just send as like, you know, like in the first message, like, hey girl, or if you don't want to, hey girl, whatever, but like, hey, thanks for reaching out. I'm glad you're interested. I have this form that you can fill out to kind of narrow down like what your goals are or how interested you are. Fill it out and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. That's like always my goal, within 24 hours of them filling it out, because it has weeded out, like, kind of like Bailey said, like if you, it's not that like I'm not interested in talking to you if you're not willing to pay for Beachbody on Demand right now, or like a challenge pack right now. But it's given me like kind of two different lists of like my ongoing, my 10 in play or 20 in play, however many you want, of like people interested right now. We're just trying to set them up with the best package. And then it's also given me a list of people who obviously have some sort of interest, but they're just not sure right now, like if they're willing to pay for it. And they always seem to, like, those are the people I'll come back to like a couple weeks into this first group, because like they start to see more of the value once you start to share, you know, a couple transformation pictures, even if it's not like total 100 workout transformation pictures. You start to, you know, drop those little breadcrumbs of what you're posting in your group, or like what kind of food you're making, or like the pictures of everybody doing the workout together. The people that are interested but not willing to pay yet, they start to see that and they see the value better. And that, like, you know, Bailey said, then in the next month following, even if it's just a couple of weeks after the start of the group, you have a whole nother list to kind of like back up to, like, hey, I knew you were interested, or like you told me you were interested, but you weren't really sure. I've been watching and I know you've been seeing my Instagram stories. So you've been seeing what's in our group. You see more of like what I can offer you as a coach and what the program's about. I'm showing moves, you know, I'm workout clips. What are you thinking about it now? Or like, are you interested in more information now? Or do you see more value basically now? And it really helps keep that momentum up, because it's really easy to get all the momentum from a group like this, like, oh, a brand new thing, and then it just like stops. So by having those like ongoing lists, it will help you continue to grow that group in the months to come, hit Success Club. And if you're, you know, trying to find working coaches, it eliminates the people who are going to waste your time, at least for right now. Like, they might come back and you might have another conversation in a week or two. But if you're like pushing right now to start this group and get people in it who like are excited, you don't really want to spend too much of your time with the people who are just interested in information. You want to spend your time right now with the people who are like ready to go. And like I tell my coaches, when I signed up as a coach 5 years ago, so a long time ago, like I was so ready to jump in. I gave my coach my like social security number, my credit card number, before she even told me what a price was. And like, that's not super common, but that shows like my level of commitment and my excitement. And like, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Hi, honey. That's kind of what I'm looking for with like my, at least coaches. You can add clients and customers into a group at any time. But if you want coaches to like ride the momentum of a new group like this, you want the people you don't have to drag along. And for the people that are, you know, I don't know many of the people on this call, but if you've been a coach for a long time, or at least like in the Beachbody community for a long time, like this is exciting to us. 100 workouts, Jericho, like a new kick-ass program. But if it's somebody who doesn't know much about Beachbody, or they're brand new, or they don't know who Jericho is, or 100 workouts intimidates them, they're not going to have that initial excitement that, you know, we have, that because we're coaches and we're in it, we're in the community. So by kind of separating the two of like, look, there's one group of people, like, I don't care what you're doing. I really don't care what the cost is, as long as it's reasonable. And as long as you can keep me accountable and be there for me, like I promised, like I'm ready to go. Those are the people you put your effort into, like right now, to get them into a group. The second group of people of like, hey, I've been watching what you're doing. I am interested, maybe, sort of. Those are the people that like, you put your time into, you know, liking their posts and like finding something non-Beachbody that you can connect with them with in the next couple of weeks. As you start to show what you're doing in the group, those people will come around because they feel like they're having like a real connection with you. So that's kind of how I've been going about, at least like I need to tweak my form a little bit, but a form like Bailey just shared, and my list of who's in play, because it's really easy to get bogged down by the people who just want information. You want, especially if you're like a mom or working or not a full-time coach or working up to full-time coach, you want your little like power pockets to go towards the people who trust you and you don't have to fight like to show up. So I hope that little rant helps kind of separate or gives you an idea at least of how to separate the interest as it comes in, because, you know, we all know likes, followers, interest is great, but it doesn't contribute to our paycheck or our team or the people that we can help. All of those things come from the people willing to put in the work. And if you're working on a launch, those are the people you want in your launch group, because those are the people that are going to have results. Like those are the people that are going to be active posting. So it's not ignore anyone who's not willing or ready to pay yet. It's put them to the side and give them the time when you can in between, and put your power hour into the people that are willing to go. So that's my spiel.
That was great. Thank you. If you guys haven't printed out the pre-order tracker too, they just posted this in the Beachbody Champions group again. And I feel like it's really good just so you can kind of like see, and this is mainly my coaches and current challengers. Like I'm making all of my coaches get an accessory bundle or completion pack. A lot of them are just getting the completion because it's cheaper. They have auto ship anyways. So if your coaches have auto ship, and you guys, I don't know if you guys know this probably, but if they have auto ship, say like for July, they can just cancel that and get the VIP in the completion pack with the Shakeology as auto ship. It's cheaper. So, I mean, I put it in my coach group and I was like, hey, get pumped for M100. Like I've been pumping it up in my challenge group and my coach group, and they all have seen like the Beachbody pages about it, but I've really like pumped up the completion pack just for one volume, because I feel like the accessory bundle doesn't give you much like PV. And so I'm making them get a completion pack pretty much. So I don't know if that helps at all. If anyone else.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Anna.
Hi.
And I'm taking a little bit of a different take on this, because I have so many people that kind of tiptoe. They're interested. They're creeping on my page and my stories all day. And I've reached out to them a couple of times. So I watched this Power Hour with Darla. I don't know if you guys watch the Power Hours on the Champions page. And I would share it, but I'm on my iPad. But anyway, I could share it on the string of this. But basically, I'm reaching out to those people, the people that are constantly creeping my page. And I've reached out to them several times, where I'm saying, hey, I'm just coming around. I have this new, so what I'm doing is I'm offering them 3-month boot camp, okay, for $40, which is a 3-month subscription. And my thinking on this is, because I've offered them challenge pack after challenge pack, get in this group, and they just aren't doing it. And I think it's because of the number. My take on it is, if I can get them in for $40 to do the boot camp for 3 months, do a program, and in that email, which I'll share with you guys. I also included one of the pancake recipes. I just kind of made it my own and put it on Canva. And I say, oh, and by the way, here's a recipe. Let me know if you try it out. Take a picture, tag me on it, because that kind of gives me something to come back to them with if they ghost me or whatever. But I'm thinking if I give them the 3-month and they do it, then I can, kind of boost up the 100 Meltdown, and by then it comes out. So that's just a take I'm doing on those people that are creeping me, that I've reached out numerous times and I get nothing from them. So that's something that I'm doing with those people. But I think it's also a good thing having this extra like recipe thing, because it's a way to like give them something, like you reach. So I have a list, I have a notebook, I'm sure we all do, of people we reached out to. So for people that you haven't spoken to, it just basically says, I'm just circling around, I'm starting a boot camp, figured I'd give you the opportunity to check back to see if you'd be interested. I know you weren't last time because whatever the reason was, let them know that you know what the reason was, but now we have this, is now a better time. And by the way, here's a recipe. So it's not just like you're just, like you kind of giving them something. So yeah, so I'm going to try that because I don't have right now people that are chomping on the bid to join me. So I have to work with what, the people that I know are watching me. They're watching me for a reason. And by doing this, I have one call tonight with somebody that said she'll do this. And then I have somebody else in Puerto Rico that said, but that's a challenge because she doesn't speak English. So I speak Spanish, but I've tried it and it's a real challenge to translate, but anyway, so if you guys want a copy of that, I'll share it in the string under this Zoom. And I also, oh, by the way, I'm sorry. And I also have a Google form, which I send to them, which basically, ask questions like, what's your nutrition like? What workouts do you like doing? That kind of stuff. Are you willing to invest, kind of similar to yours. But I have several, depending on what I'm doing, I have several different Google forms that I use as well. So that's it.
I think I'll actually go back to like my 3-month people that signed up and be like, hey, do you want to get at least an accessory bundle? Because I mean, even if you think about it though, it's like 60 plus 39 is still like $90 to $100 plus shipping. So I mean, a challenge pack is more worth it. But a lot of, like how you said, a lot of people I've messaged, I still go back and keep messaging them and they don't budge at all. So that may be your only option. And that's something to also share with like newer coaches. You could be like, hey, just promote the 3-month membership if you have no challenge pack interests, and then maybe offer that accessory bundle to them because they might see that as way cheaper and do it. And I mean, they'll still make some income off of it. So that's an idea to also share.
And also with the 3-month, if we think about it, they get the 14-day free trial first before they get charged. So if they at least, so many people are so afraid. I know I was. It took my coach 5 months to get me to even sign up because I was like, no way I'm working out from home 5 years later. But anyway, if they get in and they have the 14-day trial, it gives us some leverage to get in there before the charge and say, look, do you love, this tool? You get all of this plus more in my private group. Plus we have this new, and then you could just kind of wean them into a challenge pack at that point. But at least, those people that are so afraid to spend the money, because to us it's not a lot of money. We know the value, but to somebody who doesn't know the value, they're going to be skeptical. So many people, I talk to so many people, they don't have the money, but they're joining Orange Therapy, or they just bought their kid a brand new car. I'm like, okay, so you don't have the money, get it. But if they, for those people that don't want to spend the money, but will if they see the value, it's kind of a way to get them in. So I'll see, and then I'll just try and before that 14-day trial, I can just try and wean her into a challenge pack. She's a neighbor, so I could give her like a sample of Shakeology and, go from there. So.
I don't know if you guys struggle with like the money thing, like people saying it's too expensive, but I'm sure you do. I always tell them like, or I ask, so I've been asking them at the end of the conversation, like, how much are you willing to invest into your journey? And this has nothing to do with MM100, but I've been asking this question, and that kind of like, they give me an idea of how much they can afford. They'll be like, oh, I'm super like tight on money. Probably, you know, I can't afford it if it costs anything, or they'll actually give me a price range. Or you can even say something like, are you on a tight budget right now? If this price set you up for a year, would you be willing to invest into your journey? You know, so you could ask them that. And I kind of get an idea of like, if they say $50, they could sign up with either the 3-month or the 6-month. If they say $160, like there's a challenge pack for you, and you can easily just, you know, tell them the value. Like, you just have to be putting the value out there. And that's where a lot of like my coaches, I feel like they have trouble, is they just are pitching, basically trying to just sell them. They're not really trying to get to know them, and they're not putting the value of like how the challenge pack has helped them. So I always say, like, you know, be in your conversations throwing the value of Beachbody at them, and just like how it's helped you, how it can help them, and don't really like focus on money. But that's a way that's helped me. And I always say, like, charge it to a credit card, because people ask me for like payment options, and charging it to your credit card is basically a payment option, because you can just go pay it off, you know. So that's another thing, is like, I've actually had girls say they can't afford it, and I'm like, put it on a credit card. Like, do you have a credit card? I'm pretty sure you do. Put it on a credit card. I know that's horrible, but that's basically a payment option.
To piggyback off of that, while I don't necessarily do the credit card thing, but like, hey, it works, whatever. One of the first questions I ask pretty much anyone I can get on, like, I try to get everyone on the phone, because like, I hear your voice, or Zoom if they can see your face, whatever. But like, one of the first questions I ask is like, what have you tried before for like your health and fitness goals? So if they tell me, you know, like, I've done Orange Theory, or I'm like, by us, I live in Wisconsin, so hot yoga is like a big thing, because it sucks here 8 months out of the year. So like, hot yoga is like $180 a month for like 6 classes a week or whatever it is. So a lot of the girls are like, oh, well, I do hot yoga. Okay, well, for $180 a month, like, it's really easy for them to see like that number than for the value for a year. Or Orange Theory, or I have a gym membership I don't use. Well, add all of that up. Let's cancel that. And for a fraction, literally a fraction of that price, I can get you this, at least just the workouts. Even if you don't want to do all this other stuff, if the chance of you doing yoga in your living room for 10 minutes is better than you driving to this gym that you say you haven't used the membership for. So like, that's what Bailey, you know, what you're saying, like, getting to know them instead of just the sell. Like, if they've put money into something before, yeah, they might be a little hesitant to do something else, like, again, but you have the idea of like how much they've been willing to spend in the past, or how much money was quote unquote wasted in their mind in the past. And you can work then to show the value of what we offer, you know, whether it's the nutrition, the workouts, the whole package all together. So that's also a good way of, they don't know you're figuring out how much they're willing to spend, but you do, because if they've spent it before, someone convinced them that $180 for hot yoga was worth it. So somehow I can convince them that $100 for a year is also worth it. So that's one of the first things I always ask.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll crumble like, you know, seeds and break it down. So like, you know, I used to do CrossFit, and if you know, CrossFit is super expensive. So I always say, you know, like, that's what I always did. And now for, you know, just over a quarter a day, I have a gym in my house. I don't have to go out in the snow. I don't, you know, so I'm constantly, you know, putting that, or with my Shakeology, I always talk about how it's, you know, less than under $4 a day. So rather than looking at the huge, you know, the big number, you break it down that way, and they're like, oh, okay, you know, I spent $5.20 on a Starbucks. I see where you're going, you know.
Totally. So for my start date, I'm going to do it on the 29th. I just want to take that momentum and I just want to go with it. Also, going into that date is because if this is my market council member coming out of me, but if you're going to a Super Saturday in July, it's a brand new, like, type of Super Saturday. It's a Super Saturday meant specifically to bring new people on. Non-coaches, like the videos are for non-coaches. It's about like the compensation plan. Why is it worth it? And Carl has a video and all of that. So that Super Saturday is the weekend, wherever you are, someday that weekend before the 29th. And hopefully wherever you are, your market council is making an event that you can bring non-coaches to. So you get them excited for the workouts. They're ready to go. You get them in their thing, but then you also hopefully can bring them to a Super Weekend. I'm sorry. It's now a Super Weekend. You can bring them there and they can see the community and they can feel that, like, that's what we all, whatever you're in it for, like, that's part of what we love, the community around you, the excitement. They can get a little information on the coaching when they watch the videos. It's a party, like this whole thing. So if it works out perfectly, in my mind, it's going to work out perfectly. They're going to come with me to Super Saturday. They're going to be really excited, go into that first week, amped up, ready to go, and like fully committed. We all know it's easier to commit when there's a group around you, whether they're in your challenge group or just like the bigger, Beachbody community. So again, wherever you are, hopefully there's something like that you can bring it to. And even if you don't start that 29th, even if you want to do that August 5th start date, if you take that Super Weekend event to your advantage, maybe you have people that are on the fence, they're not really sure, bring them to that. And then like this Super Weekend, the event, they want people to like sign up either as a coach, as a customer, whatever is best for them, at the event or right after the event, within the 24 hours of the event. So if someone's, you never know, someone might need to see it in person and they're not going to go to Summit, but they could go to a small event. And if there's not an event by you, again, I'm a market council person coming out, host it. Have a few people in your house. Beachbody will send you all the information. There's a few things, but you could potentially do it on a Zoom call if you don't want it at your house, and use that information that Beachbody is sending out to take advantage of it. They haven't been confirmed yet, but Beachbody says, the corporate says they're probably going to send all people hosting Super Weekend, like we did for Transform 20, there was like a special workout you could only get if you went to a Super Weekend event. They're going to do that again for Morning Meltdown 100. So there's going to be a special workout that you can only access, only do at an event. And that'd be just another thing you can offer if someone's not sure. It's all about what little piece, it's one of those little pieces is going to hopefully be the final thing that gets them to be like, you know what? I see this value. Let's go. So if you can, take advantage of that. And if there's not one around you, do it yourself. And if you have any questions what that means, feel free to message me personally. Bailey can vouch for me. I know what I'm talking about with that stuff, at least. Maybe not other stuff, but at least that. So try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I like that. And you could also use that to your advantage of like discount coaches that sign up for MM100. Take them just so that they can like learn about the comp plan and then maybe like get into a workout and whatever. That could actually like boom, their first week of MM100. Just like going into it with the mindset of like, oh, I'm going to help people and I can be a coach, and getting results and then wanting to share it. So you could also use that to your advantage as well. But I have the dumb Zoom, so it's going to end in a minute. I know, I'm sorry. I can reopen it if you guys want to hop back on, if anyone else wants to talk, or someone can unmute. If you want me to open it back up, I can.